There it goes.
What are we going to do?
I'm going to ask you some questions. You're going to answer some questions for me. I'm going to interview you.
In the new one, no.
Introduce yourself in the language. Can you do that for me, please?
No, I did Kawaiisu nua niyagad Luther Girado karad when yati pavana. My name is Luther Girado, one of the elders of the Kawaiisu tribe. I live in a place they call Walker Basins, about just under 4,000 feet. And I speak the Kawaiisu language fluently. And they say I'm the last the male speakers of the Kawaiisu tribe.
Why is it important to you to preserve the language?
Figure if we didn't do something about it, that it was going to be lost. So when I died, and then my two sisters, and where's it going to go? You wouldn't have it no more.
So, let me see. Do you think I'll be fluent one day?
Yeah, you'll get there.
I won't be the fluent speaker. Some of it I just don't get. I'm just like, I know this. And it just rattles around in my head. And I used to have this big dictionary roll around in my head and didn't know how the pieces would go together. Now I have all the pieces to go together and I can't stick them together because it's still rattling around in my head. Does that make sense?
Med abigida no unroson. Impun keva din sona. Pavina wen karat kevo van. You wat hin hagen kwevad nagaro. No huvad. Mut iltero karvad tape van. Unere chuda pavin.
Well, Dad is 78 in March. He's our last male fluent speaker. And Aunt Lucille is our last female fluent speaker. My Aunt Betty passed away 2014, and we just got through doing a project where we recorded 60 hours of conversation between the three of them. When she passed, it was like this big hit in the face of, if we hadn't done that, if we would have waited, we wouldn't have got that.
Noticing in a van. Pierrepen morepen. Son wen pidwede uno esum. Son pegede tama subhin inem Ivan. For me, to be speaking my language today, it's very important because that's who I am. I'm 100% Native American, so is my brother.
Tochin mananak. No, I'm looking like it. You want a big them new one?
I'm listening. You two just jabbering away. Yeah, I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions. So, growing up, who spoke the language to you? Who'd you get to talk to?
Who spoke it to me?
Yeah, who'd you get to talk to growing up as a kid?
All my relatives, all my aunts and uncles and grandma and mother and father. And I had a lot of teachers. Grandpa talked nasty, though. He'd give you the nasty words. When I went to school, I could barely speak English, And that's where I picked up all my English in school.
It was in school?
Yeah.
Did Grandma know some English?
Yeah, they all knew
They did?
parts of English, not much, They always talked Indian,
When they forcibly moved our family from their traditional homes, which is the mountains of Kern County, and they forced them to live on a Sebastian reservation, which is down in the valley, the only thing they retained was their language. I don't even know if my great-grandparents still practiced song and dance. I know they'd already given up traditional dress by then. They'd still make traditional foods. They still were basket weavers, and everything else is gone. It really aggravates me when we go to these different events and this archaeologist is up there and they're calling me a descendant. It's like, look, dude, I am not a descendant. I am Kawaiisu. I'm a descendant of no one. My ancestors have always been here. My family's always been here. My family's been nowhere else but here. There's a couple archaeologists, they don't call me that no more. Hey, Speedy Gonzalez, wait for me. When I was little, I got sick. I remember being sick. My grandma was there, my grandma Gladys. She would rub my stomach, and my grandma was very religious. And she would pray, and she would pray in our language. And she'd go, Jesus! That was my favorite part. And she would pray and tell him to take my pain away. And I didn't know what she was saying, but I always felt better after she was done. I couldn't have been more than, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6. I've been over here in forever. I can remember asking Dad how to say dog and horse. You know, I was pesty. It's like, how do you say this and how do you say that and what's this and what's that? I think Quitabish was one of the first word I heard. I remember learning. And so anybody that wanted to learn, teach me a word, I'd teach them Quitabish. Quitabish means big butt. And so that's what everybody's first word I'd teach them. Dad, look this way. I always wanted to learn, but you know, just life in general, I moved away and really didn't start learning more words until 2003 when some of my cousins approached my Aunt Lucille about teaching language classes. Yeah, Dad and I have been doing it consistently since then.
So papan sen os habe kwe va dumba. You want ti kwe va nam hakapanis ku va dume. You want hakapanis in van men in episia?
I think our first video was right down here at the bottom of the hill, Dad's hill, was our Hakapanish story. Hakapanish is our boogeyman. My son and my nieces were here, and my sister and her boyfriend, his girls, and so we built a fire down there, and everybody stood around it, and that was our first video. The more I learned, the better my projects got, and it was a learning experience for him too.
Usisa it me nam Ivan Yawa por Ohinigeneka. When I was small, my father and mother taught me the Indian language. And she used to tell me, you got to learn your language when you're small. That way, when you grow up to be a big man, she says, that you'll be able to talk to other Indians and your relatives. My father would kind of chuckle or laugh when my mom was teaching me the language, and she would tell him, don't laugh, because if you do, he probably don't want to talk.
Hey, I got a question. Forgot what it was. Hold on, don't laugh. Never would I imagine that it'd be, 16 years still doing the same thing, and we have hundreds of hours of video and thousands of hours of audio recordings of Dad and the aunties. It's a never-ending project. When we do the editing, 1 minute of conversation takes an hour to translate. My dad always tells me, I'm gonna be on my deathbed, you're gonna ask me, wait a minute, well, how do you say that word again? What is that word? I'm like, Dad, I just need to be able to stick a little thumb drive in your ear and download it all.
Quite a few years ago, we all got talking, trying to preserve our language. and what could we do. And so we started teaching our language, like everyday use words, to people that didn't know it.
Boom, my quinag. Pesa quinag sa sin nukineno. Anti Hernam.
We have our language pods 3 Fridays a month. Been the same people for a very long time. We invite anybody that wants to learn our language is more than welcome to come to our classes. We don't care if you're white, blue, purple, or green. That's what Dad says.
He told us another one, E.T.
E.T. that's the heat.
Laura Grant, she comes and she helps me with topics and things like that because she's learned the language really well. I mean, she's like, how'd you do that?
You watch somebody one and you she buzzing one and cup on.
Yeah, we tease each other a lot. Nobody gets away with anything.
I just wanted to hear her say it.
We've known each other for a long time, all of us. There's my husband, David. He's been exposed to it for as long as we've been together. Brandy's my cousin. And then John Hammond's 5th generation from Tehachapi. We're more family than the class.
Cool. She meaning, isn't she?
A lot of tribes, if you're non-native, they don't want you listening to their language or their traditions. Or they're not interested at all, and that's fine too, but no, we don't care.
What is this? Kakawut Nabi?
It's mine.
Yes.
You know, my father and his parents, they did not want to share the language like we're sharing it at this time with everybody. Are you kidding? They would not want to see that camera. You couldn't even step on that property. They'd be throwing rocks at you. And like me, I was like that because I didn't think anybody was interested. You know, and then the more I talked to people, then I just kind of opened up. Well, why not? Why not teach them what I know? They're called Wi'ib. And that makes me so proud that we will be able to leave that to whoever wants to learn.
What's this? Yep. Language and culture go hand in hand. Language is your identity as a Native person or an Indigenous person, not just Native. That's who I am. That's my identity. I might not be a fluent speaker, but I'm Native.
Yummy.
My grandson's 8, my granddaughter's 4. Whatever I'm learning, I'm sharing with them. And the more I learn, the more they learn. What's that? He barks. Woof, woof.
Pookies.
Yeah. Pookies, huh?
As an elder, as a fluent speaker, as somebody that is very proud of her nation and her people, I want to see my people coming behind me doing the exact thing I'm doing today. Them sitting in this hot seat and sharing what we taught them as elders.
We're going to be here a long time.
Yeah, that's what Josh says. You're going to be here till you're over 100. You two, me and you and Uncle, you're both the same.
I said, there won't be no dirt here. We'll still be here.
So do you think that with all the documentation that we've done, videos and audio CDs and lesson plans, the language will survive?
Yeah,
Think so?
yeah. When we're dead and gone, you guys can continue teaching it, you know. I like to say everybody's speaking it, even the younger generation. Hurt water. Somebody has to carry on. Water,
If Dad walked up to me today and says, I'm done, I'm tired of looking at you people, I'm over it. All right, we're done. Anybody can come in behind us, pick up anything that we've made, and learn. It'll always be here, but maybe in a different form.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
That was really good. I really enjoyed that. So I think that's it. We're all done.
Is it lunchtime?
I'm proud, and Julie is too, for like as far as we came with this language, and I hope it just keeps on going on forever. That, like I said, when we pass away, they can talk it like Julie or my grandkids, you know. That's it. Bye.